The elevator doors slid shut with a dull metallic thud, sealing Emma Parker inside a narrow steel box she had stepped into without a second thought. It was nearly 9 in the evening, and the office building was mostly empty, its usual daytime buzz replaced by a quiet that made every sound echo. Emma clutched her purse to her side and exhaled slowly, eager to get home after another exhausting day. Standing beside her was her boss, Michael Reynolds. He was adjusting his tie, his posture as composed and confident as always. Michael was the kind of man people noticed the moment he entered a room: calm voice, controlled expressions, and an authority that never needed to be raised. Emma had worked under him for almost 2 years, and while she respected his leadership, she had always kept a careful distance. Mixing personal feelings with work was dangerous, and she knew that better than most. The elevator began its descent. Then, without warning, it jolted. The lights flickered once, twice, and then the elevator screeched to a halt between floors. The sudden stop threw Emma slightly forward, and she grabbed the railing instinctively. Her heart pounded as silence swallowed the space, broken only by the faint hum of stalled machinery. "Is this a joke?" Emma whispered. Michael pressed the emergency button, his jaw tightening as nothing happened. He tried again, then reached for the intercom. "Looks like we're stuck," he said evenly, though the tension in his voice betrayed him. Emma swallowed hard. She had never liked enclosed spaces. The walls felt closer now, the air heavier. She leaned back against the elevator wall, trying to steady her breathing. Minutes passed. They spoke at first about practical things: how long it might take for maintenance to arrive, whether the security desk was still staffed. But as time dragged on, the conversation slowed, and an unfamiliar stillness settled between them. Emma became painfully aware of how close they were standing. Michael noticed it too. In the confined space, there was no avoiding eye contact. No polite office distance. Just two people, standing inches apart, stripped of titles and routines. Emma felt her pulse quicken, not from fear alone, but from something else she didn't want to name. "I didn't realize you were still here so late," Michael said quietly. She shrugged. "Deadlines don't really care about the clock." A faint smile crossed his face. "You work harder than anyone on the team." "I probably don't say that enough." The words caught her off guard. Praise from Michael was rare, always measured. Hearing it now, in this silence, made it feel heavier. "Thank you," she replied. Another pause. The elevator lights dimmed slightly, casting soft shadows across the metal walls. Emma shifted uncomfortably, her thoughts racing. She reminded herself who he was. Who she was. This situation was awkward, but it didn't mean anything had to change. Yet emotions have a way of surfacing when escape isn't an option. Michael cleared his throat. "Emma, there's something I should probably say." She looked up at him, uncertain. "This job, it puts pressure on everyone. Sometimes we forget we're human first." He hesitated, choosing his words carefully. "If I've ever made things harder for you, I'm sorry." That was not what she expected. Her shoulders relaxed slightly. "You're demanding," she said honestly, "but fair. I've learned a lot here." Their eyes lingered on each other longer than necessary. The air between them felt charged, not with action, but with realization. Lines they had never acknowledged were suddenly visible. The elevator remained unmoving. Emma shifted again, crossing her arms, suddenly aware of how vulnerable the situation felt. "This is uncomfortable," she admitted softly. Michael nodded immediately. You're right. And I want to be very clear, I won't let this situation cross any lines. Relief washed through her, surprising her with its intensity. Thank you, she said. They stood in silence again, but this time it felt different, safer. The intercom crackled suddenly, making Emma jump. A voice informed them that help was on the way and asked them to remain calm. As they waited, they talked, not as boss and employee, but as two people sharing stories. Michael spoke about the pressure of leadership, the loneliness at the top. Emma talked about her ambitions, her fear of being overlooked, her desire to be seen for more than just her output. By the time the elevator finally lurched back to life and descended the rest of the way, something had shifted, not inappropriately, but meaningfully. When the doors opened, they stepped out together, both a little quieter than before. Emma, Michael said as they reached the lobby. What happened in there stays professional. But I want you to know, I respect you. And I'll make sure that's reflected at work. She nodded. That's all I want. They walked in separate directions, the night air cool against their faces. Nothing improper had happened. But something important had. Sometimes, being stuck isn't about what goes too far, it's about what finally becomes clear.